Okay, on to the very final match of our recent league. We're 3-1 at the moment, so we've won our money back. We don't really care too much about this. This is just for seeing if we can get the 4-1, because that's always nice. We'll mulligan. We're going to have to mulligan this too. We're still just looking for that bazaar. We find a bazaar and we find a petrified field, and I think we want that at the bottom. So amalgam's a good card, but we need dredges. So right about now, we're going to play a bazaar in our turn, draw end of their turn. We have petrified field in case he has like a strip mine or a wasteland, as I've come across unpleasantly often. And we will just play out a bazaar. I'm going to play petrified field next turn if our bazaar doesn't draw us a bazaar. So he's trying to get his young pyro online. Obviously he wants to he's going to want to clock us quickly and clog the board. If he can clog the board, he can take care of our bridges, leaving us with, we still have creatures, but it's a lot harder for us to push through and buys him a lot more time to find a better win con. Okay, and he's treasure cruising on his second turn, which is nice for him. Okay, and we'll just pitch our dredges here. We're going to want to dredge twice in response to the Icarid, so we want the two biggest dredgers we can possibly dump in there. Okay, and we got another bazaar, which means we're not going to get to bazaar this turn, but we can bazaar twice next turn. We really should have dumped our Dakmor salvage. Okay, so we're going to trigger Amalgam already. And I think we want to eat we'll eat a Thug, because we're going to trigger both our Bloodghasts. Unfortunately, we miss on a Dredger, which is probably why we should have been to salvage. I guess we can therapy ourselves for a Thug. I think that's the right play. Okay, yeah, we really should have therapied ourselves. It's going to be fine because we're going to get to Bazaar again next turn regardless, but okay, an opponent's going to Dak Fade and he's just going to try to look for more, I guess try to rip through his library looking for gas to fuel the Pyros. We're not going to block Pyro. We would rather just take, I don't know, we can go down to 8 or 10, I feel, before we need to worry about declaring any blocks. What's he bolting? Bolting our zombie. That's fine. Alright, so I think we're going to have to Icarid eat Icarid. This is another reason why we should have therapied ourselves a Thug before. At least we could have had a chance in drawing into more dredges. We're still going to have 2 more Icarids in our library after this, so that's fine. We should probably Bazaar on our draw step. That was very wrong. So I'm playing this pretty clumsily, by the looks of it. Okay, there we go. I finally therapied myself, so I'm going to get full value from my therapies here. I'm going to Bazaar first, as we will hopefully hit more Bloodghasts, and then we can Petrified Field to get a Bazaar back, and Bazaar again. And so next turn we have, what have we got? Okay, so we'll name Force. We're going to name Force here so that we can Dread return an Icarid. We Dread return an Icarid, sacrificing Amalgam. We'll re-trigger Amalgam and get another 9 zombies. So I think that would be the correct play here. So if we do that, we're going to have... Yeah, okay, so there we go. We're getting the Icarid. Okay, fantastic. So we've spotted the line. Do we trigger Amalgam? Okay, that's fine. Icarid's going to die end of this turn no matter what. I'm deciding whether or not it's worth attacking in. I don't think it is. I think we want the zombies. And we're just going to go for a big single combat turn next turn. He probably does have an out. So what did we see before? We saw a Snapcaster and a Swords, didn't we? Yeah, cool. So there we go. We triggered Amalgam. Was it a Snapcaster and a Sword? So I think he can DAC and then Snap Treasure Cruise. And he needs to find, I think, exactly Echoing Truth for our zombies. Which I still don't think necessarily wins him the game, but does buy him some time. We're still in a position where we're likely to be able to dredge our entire library next turn. Yes, what do? We dredge 18, leave us with 1 card. Undiscovered Paradise for Bloodghasts, and we can probably get our second Dread return for Flamekin Zealot, which I think should do it. So yeah, look, he's out at the moment to buy him some time. It's a DAC, play a land, snap Treasure Cruise, try to find Echoing Truth. Getting some Pyro tokens into the bargain. Of course, he could just DAC into Echoing Truth, which would also, once again, it doesn't blow us out, but is also bad for us. You can see him pitching the Swords there. Swords are now no longer of any relevance. Okay, Treasure Cruise. Guess maybe, how many? Okay, yeah, he leaves Bolt, that's fine. Bolt seems reasonable to keep. If I need to bolt your own creature to take out bridges. Resolves his treasure cruise. And there we go, he scoops. So for this, I think we can probably get rid of Leyline. Leyline doesn't deal well with tokens, as I mentioned before when I was playing one of the workshops matches. We want Elishnorn. And okay, so Barbarian Ring is good here. We probably want to pitch. Oh, I guess we'll ditch 2 coloured sources. So Petrified Field seems fine to cut. Although maybe he's on a Delver deck. Anyway, if we're bringing Barbarian Rings, I guess I probably should have some Ingot Chewers. I still like Serenity. And 2 Nature's Claims. And apart from that, we're keeping a pretty clean list, so we're not actually cutting too much action here, which is nice. This is Clear Mulligan. I like the idea of keeping this hand, thanks to the Ingot Chewer and Red Source. This is much better. We got a Bazaar. We'll put that on the bottom. Got a Bazaar. We've got a couple of land sources, an Amalgam, a couple of Dredges. Elishnorn seems good. And our opponent almost definitely has a hand that does something, as they kept, what did they keep, 6? Yeah, so they kept 6. It doesn't appear like it does do anything, and we've managed to draw a second Narcomoeba somehow. And that's a Rest in Peace. That's not what we want to see. Okay, so I think from here we want to pitch, obviously, a Narcomoeba. A Dread Return does nothing, and the Amalgam maybe is the hardest to trigger. We might have to end up binning a bridge at some point. I guess we can afford to bin just about all of this. We want to keep the Norn, but the rest of it's kind of less important. We can play out a Dakmor Salvage. That just opens up Serenity for us if we find that. Okay, great. Our opponent's not really doing anything. Okay, Undiscovered Paradise. So, cool. We find Serenity, and we're going to pitch, I guess, Salvage, Icarid, Stinkweed? Yeah, that seems fine. That gives us a nice big Dredger and a way of keeping him off the board. We even got to keep our bridge. So our opponent now can't actually also play anything more out. So this means that the only things that we're scared of in our turn is probably something like Ravenous Trap. And he's got the mana up for the horrible, what do you call it, Containment Priest. Cool, so Bloodghast, Thug, I guess we want Thug, Bridge, Bloodghast, so we're going to trigger Bloodghast. This turn when we play Undiscovered Paradise. And we're going to trigger an Amalgam as well. Oh, cool, so we get double Bloodghast and an Amalgam. And a Bridge. And I think we can hardcast a Thug. So this is looking pretty good so far. The nice thing about this is well, actually, okay, so we need to therapy ourselves. Okay, we probably should have therapied ourselves for the troll. Anyway, what do? We can do that next turn. Swords, the amalgam, that's fine. Then he's going to ingot chewer to get rid of a bridge. I think that's really why we really should have therapied ourselves off maybe. I guess the Bloodghast, we can't really do it off the Thug. And just crack in for 5. Okay, and Mentor. So now we need to race a Mentor. So Time Walk seems fine. It seems like a decent play from him. And now he's got to try to go off. And he probably... Oh, that's bad for him. He probably... I don't know if he should have attacked or not, but not managing to do anything with the Mentor leaves him in a bad spot. We'll leave one troll in hand just in case of Ravenous Trap. Okay, we've got another bridge, so we really want to hit another bridge and then probably... I guess a Dredge return would be great right now. Okay, second bridge, still no second Dredge return. So I guess we probably want to therapy his entire hand. Then Dread return and Icarid again, I think. Just so we can really get some pressure going. Oh no, wait, we don't have the Dread return, never mind. Yeah, so we just want to therapy out everything in his hand. And what we'll probably do here... So I think we're going to therapy off the Narcomoeba, and then therapy off the Thug, so we can rebuy the Narcomoeba for next turn. Yep, okay. And we're going to get to see the Thug Narcomoeba interaction. This is always fun. So Narcomoeba to let us get, Thug to let us get our Narcomoeba. And I think we can actually just race our opponent from here. We don't really need to do anything particularly interesting. Okay, so we do need to take that balance from... So even with the balance, what we could do is he would use balance, and we would kill our blood ghasts to begin with. So we'd sacrifice 2 blood ghasts and some of our zombies, and we'd probably end up with a similar number of creatures. So maybe that wasn't necessary. Maybe we should have taken Bolt there. So Bloodghast would have bought us 4 zombies. And we could have brought them back next turn, could we? We could have. Yeah, so... yeah, we should have done that. So we should have taken the Bolt rather than the Balance. So if he casts Balance, sacrifice 2 Bloodghasts and... I guess, how many zombies? We would have gone down to 3 zombies up to 7 zombies. And then dropped another 2 Bloodghasts on the table. Alright, he cast Grafdigger's Cage. This is actually okay. We're well and truly ahead right now. How much? So what have we got? We've got 8 creatures on the board to his 4. And we need to punch through 10 points of damage. So we can get through 6 this turn. He'll get to keep his Mentor, which won't do all that much. Okay, so I guess this turn we just play out Bloodghast because it's hasted. And we get to attack with 1 extra creature. We get to attack with 9 creatures, which still doesn't quite make it lethal this turn, but I think leaves him on 2 instead of 4, which means he has fewer outs. Okay, and that'll be a Bolt, triggering his Prowess, targeting Amalgam. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess he can't target one of his monks, as it leaves him down a creature, and realistically he needs to... Problem is, it brings us up 2 creatures, so it's not a good trade regardless. He does need to cast it. He has no choice but to cast it. Otherwise he can't trade with a lot of our creatures. I just don't know what it should have been cast on. And I also don't know why he blocked non-token creatures. Because he's now just given us 12... I guess maybe in the hope that he draws an Echoing Truth. Anyway,